afternoon, everyone. I know it's late, and I'll try to make this short. First, I would like to congratulate all the inductees today. It is a great honor, and all of you are deserving of this prestigious award. Next, as a member of the Hall of Fame Committee, I would like to thank our chairman, Carl Koenig, for all the time and effort he contributes to make this event run as smoothly as possible. Only next year, Carl, try to remember, I like my steak medium rare. I don't like it well done. So. He does it all. Carl does it all. But the main reason I'm here today is to introduce to you my good friend of almost 50 years, John Kopalek. John and I first met when we were teammates at Broome Community College. It was called Broome Tech back then, in 1969. I did know John in high school. He went to a competing high school in the same league we were in. And everybody knew John in high school because he had a funny looking hairdo. It looked like an afro before afro was even in, even that well known. I don't know how he passed the hair rule every time. Those referees must have liked him or something. But after Broome, we both went on to the University of Buffalo, and were teammates there under the tutelage of Coach Ed Michael, who was a distinguished Hall of Fame member. Now, including John, that makes 5 members of that team in the early 70s that are inducted into the New York State Wrestling Hall of Fame. And Ed's longtime assistant coach, Scott Stever, is also a member. So that's quite an accomplishment, Coach Michael. And for those of you that don't know it, Ed Michael will be inducted into the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame next month. Congratulations, Coach. The only question is, what took them so long? Getting back to John, John was a fierce competitor on the wrestling mat, and he was a very good leg wrestler. His patented move, the spread eagle, left many of his opponents shaking their heads and wondering what in the hell just happened as the referee was raising John's hand. And as a teammate, you could always count on John to give 100%. Now, John has worn many hats in the sport of wrestling. He has coached at all levels, from the Pee-wees up through college, and everything in between, both as a paid coach and as a volunteer coach. John just liked being around the kids and the sport of wrestling, helping out whenever he could. In the early 80s, when I was coaching Maine Endwell, if that name sounds familiar, they won the Little League World Series. If any of you watched that. John was instrumental in the success I had, especially with his expertise in leg wrestling. John was also an assistant to Tony Pollock here at Vestal for about 10 years and helped Tony achieve the record for the most wins in Section 4 history. John also coached his alma mater, Shenango Valley, where he coached their first Section 4 champ in 33 years, and at Broome Community College. Unfortunately, they dropped the sport back in the 80s. Although John, altogether, John has coached wrestling for over 30 years. In addition to coaching, John has also officiated at all levels of the sport for close to 30 years and currently officiates some of the biggest college tournaments in the Northeast, many times driving over 500 miles one way to get to an event. But what's amazing about John still officiating is that his eyesight isn't what it used to be. And when a heckler yells, "Hey ref, what are you, blind?" John yells back and says, "Yeah, but only in one eye." Well, what's more incredible than that is that John, even at his advanced age, he continues to work at his home repair business. John thinks nothing of climbing a 30-foot ladder with a bundle of shingles on his shoulder to repair a roof. And if that's not enough, in his spare time, John runs marathons. Up to a couple years ago, John was competing in the Boston Marathon. He ran in that event, I believe, 4 times and many other events in the Northeast. And now because of doctor's orders, he's down to 5 and 10K races, poor guy. I'll get a phone call in the middle of winter while I'm taking a nap. That's right, John, 65-year-olds take naps, they don't go out running marathons. And I hear this heavy breathing, it's John jogging in the winter. It's snowing out, you know, it's cold, I'm taking a nap and he's out jogging. So John is either the most amazing 65-year-old I know or the most insane 65-year-old I know. Either way, here's my amazing or craziest friend of nearly 50 years and a new Hall of Fame member, John Kopalek. Congratulations.
Is that working, Pauline? Yeah. Okay. Several things. I want to thank Fred Marcello. He's been a friend for nearly 50 years, as he said. 46 years ago, he came to my house and picked me up, and away we went to sunny Buffalo. And of course, today he came and he picked me up and he hauled me here. And I think after 46 years, I get my own transportation. But I really appreciate, what a steady human being. In fact, all my teammates, or anybody not coached, tremendous people, and I think you know that. We're running low on time. The privilege of the last speaker is to take as long as you want. But I'm going to say, you know, in wrestling in 53 seasons, I only lived in 2 holds. One of them was a sleeper hold, so I could put you all out of your misery right now if you like. But I'm going to tell you a little bit about the sport, my take on the sport, and why I got involved. I think most of the thank yous are in the book. Not sure. I'm from a place called Port Crane, New York, and maybe you never heard of it. Mickey Mantle spent his summers there. Billy Martin died there, and George Hull, the world's most famous hoaxer, he invented the car of giant, lived there at one time. And Port Crane's not on the map anymore. It's under Interstate 88, most of it. And it's a shame, you know. It was pretty much when we grew up. I grew up on a dirt road, and we did boy things. We played on the railroad tracks, and we swam in the river. But me and my brother and our friends, we liked to do the combat stuff. And so we had snowball fights and apple fights in season. And then we had BB gun fights. And those leave a nasty well. When we got a little better armed, we had pellet gun fights. And thank God in 1963 I discovered wrestling, because that year I got my 22. And at any rate, high school, I'll fast forward. And the biggest, enjoyed high school, was involved in wrestling for 6 years. I was a manager, a riding timekeeper, a JV, varsity, on and on. The best thing that happened to me in high school was I got to go to Russ House Wrestling Camp in Forestville, PA. And I know Jim McClough was there at the time. And it was my first opportunity to wrestle people from out in New York State. And my first exposure to college coaches. Dwayne Whitaker recruited me in high school. He was our coach at Broome Community College. He was a Cortland State grad and a leg man, super guy. And he had assembled an excellent JUCO team. And right away we were unbeaten, and we made number 7 in the JUCO rankings. The problem was we were on a trimester, and we had 3 marking periods. 2 of them occurred during wrestling, and 4 of our starters flunked out. And the big lesson, if you were going to be a collegiate athlete, you had to do the academics. So on to Buffalo, and my university for life. And I was recruited to wrestle at the University of Buffalo by Coach Ed Michael. And that's their phrase, university for life. All 3 of my sons graduated from UB, as did my daughter-in-law. She's in med school there now. And just a real quick capsule on Coach Ed. Coach Ed Michael, he's the only human being in the world that ever coach a nationally ranked team in JUCO, Division I, Division II, and Division III. And everybody's familiar. Thanks, Coach Ed. And you know, that's heartfelt. And Scott Stever, also our assistant, was incredible to work with. I want to say that 25 members of our UB team went on to coach. And I think that's pretty tremendous. Now, coaching, you'll have to understand, is it's the second best job in the world. The first, of course, is being a parent. But, of course, the problem with coaching is when you die, they put that on your tombstone. Here lies Coach Jones, and after that, they put your one-loss record. Everybody like to go to the movies here, right? They like the cinema, right? The best seat in the house is where, you know? It's in the front row, right? Everybody like, you go to Broadway, you want to sit in the front row, right? I do, right? Everybody's like that, right? But now, in wrestling, even better than the front row is you can be right out on the mat. And that's officiating. And I've had a really grand time with officiating. I am a member of 6 organizations. And I've had, you know, thanks to Freddie Ambrose and Pascal Perry, I've had the honor to officiate Phil Davis, Nashawn Garrett, Ed Ruth, Nick Wisdowski, Jordan Lean, Kyle Dake, David Taylor, O'Connor, Quentin Wright, Bubba Jenkins, Fitterly, Chirella, Hamlin, Kilgore, Donahoe, Rutherford, Nickel. No, it's been a wonderful ride. You know, I'm a little, I guess I'm getting a little old for that and moving on. But, so anyway, these last 10 years I've been in search of the essence of our sport. What is it that attracts us about us? What is it? If you boil it all down, what's there? And I was thinking, what's the essence of a good wrestler? And so I came up with this. I said, keep your hands in front and never give up. And I thought, wow, isn't that amazing? And then Lance Armstrong came out with never give up. Okay, well, it turns out that's in scriptures. So I moved on in my search. And the more I thought about it, it finally dawned on me. And the whole essence of the whole thing, it just hit me, the best wrestler. And that's who it is. It's my best friends. It's the best people. It's the most rugged people. And listen, I'd like to thank the committee and everyone that's here. And thanks for putting up with me. And love you all, or at least most of you. I really appreciate it.
John, thanks for that walk. It was quite interesting. Appreciate that. I have a request and I have a reminder before I say goodbye. First request, I ask for one last standing ovation for all the honorees here today. Please, stand. The reminder is, all honorees are reminded that you have a photo shoot, one more photo shoot for you after this. And for all of you for coming today, thank you so much for coming. Here. Safe home all. Appreciate that.
Buddy.